Hello, welcome to Luminous Hearts Collective. I'm Michelle. I wanted to talk today about using our intuitive inner knowing when making decisions, and how powerful that is versus trying to force decisions from our mind. So oftentimes when we're faced with a big decision that we have to make, we feel pressured to do it in a hurry. We feel the pressure often of whoever's involved in this decision. Like, let's say it's a trip. Last week, I had to make a big decision about whether or not there was a trip that I was going to take with my family. And, for me, I've been doing this for a long time. And so now I realize that and everybody's different, right? But for me, when my intuitive knowing is guiding me somewhere, I get a full body yes. Like, I can be talking about it with someone and I just feel this openness, this expansion, sometimes this just excitement about it. And that for me is a full body, clear yes. And when something is not in the highest alignment for me, it just feels kind of like there's a wall in front of me, like I'm standing in front of a brick wall and there's no energy behind it. It just feels flat. So that is my inner knowing. And sometimes we'll try to override this. Like I had outside pressure to do this trip and I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And so I was trying to override my intuitive knowing. And so I kept sitting down and tuning in, and I was drawing cards and I was doing all kinds of things. I kept trying to turn this no into a yes. And the next day, I found out that the whole reason we were going to go, one of the people we were going to see wasn't going to be able to come. And so the trip was no longer even going to happen. And so it was just great confirmation for me to trust that inner knowing. Receiving that full body yes when something is in your highest good to do doesn't mean necessarily that whatever that is or whatever that decision is, whether it's a job or anything that you're going to do or a big change you're going to make in your life, the yes doesn't necessarily mean everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows because we're human beings. We're here to have the entire experience, the highs, the lows. Our soul sees it all as expansion. But our soul, our higher self, our inner wisdom is always guiding us towards our highest fulfillment, our best, most beautiful, expansive experience of life. And so that is going to have all kinds of things along the way. So I say that just because when you start really practicing this and tuning into it, if it feels like you follow your intuition and then it seems like something goes wrong as your human might see it, sometimes that is part of what you need to experience to open something up in you or to reveal something to you or to remove something from your life that needs to go before you can step into this next version of you. So it's all this perfect package, and if we just continually follow our moment-to-moment intuitive knowing of the next step and the next step, then we're going to end up on our highest timeline in the best possible life experience for us in every moment. So when you want to make a decision and you're feeling the pressure, right? You're feeling the pressure of time, maybe of money, maybe people outside of you are needing you to make this decision because it impacts them in some way. So that's when we really tend to kind of get into our heads, right? And we feel this pressure. We don't want to let people down. It's all the shoulds, I should do this. I need to do this. It's this feeling that You have to make a decision quickly. So all of that can block our intuition. Our intuitive knowing comes from that part of us that is always connected with source, with all that is, with infinite intelligence. It's that divine part of us that you can access through your heart. And that's why people always say your heart knows the way, because your heart is literally a portal to your soul, to this divine, all-knowing part of you that can see the past, knows everything about you, and can see your future potentials, and is always going to steer you in the highest and best direction. So when you are faced with a decision that you have to make that feels really big and important, the first thing that you want to do is to calm your body. So I'm going to make a meditation for decision making, and I will post that soon. But I'll just walk you through the steps right now. So you want to really start with calming your body, centering, and grounding, because that's going to allow you to open up to receive the intuitive guidance that is always there for you. It's always trying to come to you. And so, you want to start with maybe just taking a few deep breaths and imagine breathing into your heart and out your feet. You can try this. It's a good way of coming into the heart and grounding at the same time. Just as you're breathing, notice the sensation of your body planted firmly on the seat, of your feet anchored firmly into the ground, and all of you anchored into the heart of Mother Gaia, into the earth. And notice how your body begins to immediately relax and align. And just sit there for a few moments and focus on the sensations in your body. Feel the sensations that maybe air on your skin, or notice, your pants against your leg, or anything that you are feeling in your body, any sensations. Just notice them. Try not to judge them. If there's any tightness or discomfort, you can just notice it and breathe, and just, keep focusing on feeling grounded and secure, and just come into a very heart-centered, relaxed space. So, meditation and breath work are great for this if you need some help. There's so many out there, and like I said, I will make one particularly for calming the body and moving into the heart for decision making. So once you are in this space, I like to actually, for me, it's always been easier to access information when I write it. For some people, it might actually you could just sit and have a conversation in your mind, or if you're alone, you can speak out loud, whatever feels most resonant with you. But I like to have a journal, and I just have it right there. So I close my eyes, I go into my heart, ground, center, and breathe, calm my body. And then I like to put my hand on my heart. You don't have to do that, just if you want to. It just helps me to connect. And I ask from that place the question. And you might want to, before you do any of the breathing and grounding, just kind of tune into what question it is that you're trying to ask. Like, let's say that for me, my example, there was that trip that I was going to take. And so my question to my inner wisdom, my heart, was, is it in the highest good of myself and my family to take this trip? And most of the time, our intuition, when we are in that heart space, is the first thing that comes through. Like, before your mind has time to question it, right when you ask the question, that's usually your intuition speaking to you. And your mind will want to discount it. So I always just write the first thing down. And as my mind comes in and tries to argue it, I try to just let that go. I don't need to worry about that. I'm just writing this down. I can ignore it. I don't have to follow what comes through. But this is the gold. This is the intuitive guidance that's coming through. And even if you're questioning whether it's your intuition or you're making it up, just write it down, because that always happens. You know, even after all these years I've been doing this, that questioning, doubting mind still comes in. And now I can more easily let it go because I've had enough confirmations of the intuition to feel confident and trusting it. Because I'm already in that space, I often will just ask, is there anything else that my heart or my inner guidance or my higher self, whatever you want to refer to this all-knowing part of you as, would like me to know at this time? Because you're already in that space, you might as well see what comes through. So often I'll get some clarity on something through asking that question from this space. And also that is the question that I ask every day. Even if I don't have a big decision to make, I get into my heart, and every morning I ask, my higher self, my spirit guides of highest love and light, the angels, the ascended masters, all of the beings of love who are guiding and supporting me for my highest good. What is it that I most need to know right now? Sometimes I'll say it that way, or what message is in my highest good to receive at this time? You can phrase it however feels best to you. But so while you're in your heart space, you're grounded and centered and relaxed, you may as well go ahead and ask and see what comes. And so if nothing comes through, don't worry, because we all receive information differently. And also, if you're new to this, it takes practice. It's just like working any muscle, working out, doing anything. Oftentimes we have to kind of ease ourselves into something. So just know that your higher self will not let you miss whatever it is that you need to know. Either somebody will say something to you, something will come into your experience in some way that will give you the clarity that you need. When you ask and you remain open and you keep coming back into your heart and you try to let go of the mind and the need to know, right? Because when we're making decisions from the mind, that is the place of forcing, right? It's this feeling that I have to decide right now. There's that pressure of time. Oftentimes there's people that are putting pressure on us. We're worried about letting people down. There can be so much involved, especially, depending on what kind of decision it is and how many people are involved. So that's why you really want to block all of that out by just letting it go, right? Just drop it like a hot potato and come into your heart center, get grounded, centered, and tune in, because your inner wisdom knows the way. It knows what's in your highest good, and it's always going to guide you. So whether you receive the answer in that moment or not, do not worry, it will come. And just, set your intention to stay present, to stay in that space of receiving, and just trust and pay attention, right? So that's when you really pay attention to, because our soul speaks to us through the world around us. And so for me, I pay attention to the animals in my environment. If I see animals that I don't usually see, like I saw a raccoon family the other day, and in the middle of the day, and that had its own message for me. Or it will come in dreams sometimes. Animals will come into my dream, and then I will tune in and see what message they had for me. And it is amazing how much the animal kingdom helps us with their various energy qualities and the guidance and assistance that they bring us. So pay attention to the animals, the plants, anything that catches your eye. Make sure that you're, staying in your heart and following the flow of the day. Like if you suddenly feel compelled to go have a coffee at your local cafe, like go and do that, because there might be an encounter there where somebody says something to you and your higher self is speaking to you through them, giving you a clue to whatever it is that you most need to hear in that moment. There's infinite ways that the universe can speak to us. Notice even what pops up maybe in your Instagram feed or on your social media. Sometimes, our guides and our higher self will use every means at our disposal to try to get through to us whatever it is that we need to know. So, and sometimes we'll just have an inner knowing. Like for me, sometimes just a couple days later, I just feel really settled on the answer and nothing really happened. It's just like this clear inner knowing. So trust what comes to you, trust that it will come. And, I also like to use oracle cards. So you can find a deck that resonates with you. I actually use this one a lot. It's the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck when I'm trying to gain clarity on something, because of the particular cards seem to be really helpful. Like there's one card that's a yes and one card that's a no. There's a boundaries card. There's cards that seem to answer these type of questions well. So that deck I find to be very helpful, but you can use any deck or any tool that helps you to get clarity. So I want to share something just to illustrate how this works for me. So last week I got a call from my sister about taking a trip to go see my parents who are, needing some help with some things. And I immediately just felt like yes, like everything in me just felt open and expansive as she was talking about doing this. And it was just a clear yes, right? So that trip, I didn't even really have to tune in. I just knew. It was very clear. And the other trip was one where there was a lot of people involved, a lot of different things going on, and I just did not have a clear feeling about it. For 2 mornings, I did this practice. I sat down, I tuned in, and all I was getting when I would try and write is like this feeling of a jagged line. I felt like it was up and it was down. There were too many balls in the air, and I just couldn't get a clear yes. But I felt pressure because, my family wanted to know if we were going. My daughter needed to tell work. There were all these pressures coming from the outside. A lot of people involved, a lot of interests, and it was making it really hard for me to get clear. But when I would come down in the morning when it was quiet and do this, I was not getting that full body yes. But I wasn't getting a no. And so that's where it gets a little bit tricky. Sometimes for me, there is a clear no. Like I said, I feel like I'm standing in front of a brick wall. It's flat. There's just no energy behind something. And I know that for me, the universe is saying it's not in your highest good to go in that direction, to take that job, to take that trip, whatever it may be. This wasn't that though. It was like undecided. It just felt, it felt unstable. It felt like, it's not like it's a bad thing. It's not a no. It just felt really unsettled and unclear. And, so I did that for 2 days. And then finally, because it wasn't a strong no, I was like, well, maybe we go ahead and take this trip. We kind of had to make the decision. So I started in the direction of looking for tickets. And I had this thought like, let me call, this family member again and just check in. And it turns out their plans had completely changed. They were no longer going to be able to go, and everything got called off. So for me, that was like just another validation to trust my intuition, right? To trust this process. And, over the years, there's been plenty of times where I have gotten that feeling of no, but it was something I really wanted to do, like especially when I was younger, if I wanted to go to a party or go out and my body was telling me not to, and then I would do it and it would end up being kind of a rough night. So you learn over time that your life just gets so much easier, and it's just in your best interest to follow your inner wisdom, because your heart knows the way. Your higher self is always going to tell you what's in your highest good. So yes, you have got the universe behind you. You've got a team of beings of love and your higher self and your inner wisdom always guiding you. And when you learn to really trust this and tune into this, you are going to find so much more ease and flow in your life, and just this sense that you are always being guided, because you are, and when you really start to tune into that, and when you start realizing that everything around you is speaking to you, everything that you are encountering, there are signs around us all the time that oftentimes we just aren't even aware of, or we completely miss. So once you start to really practice this, it becomes so magical, because you feel that. You feel even the wind, speaking to you, or, this last couple of weeks, there's just been so much going on in my life. And I've always, one way that the universe speaks to me is through number sequences. And I know a lot of people get that. So we'll get like 444 or 111, or, there's so many different number sequences, but it's been wild because this last week, I have so many pictures on my phone. I love to take pictures because it reinforces, it reinforces that you are paying attention and you get more of it. You're focusing your subconscious mind on this, and so it sends you more. And just countless, like I feel like every time I walk into the kitchen, because I will caveat that I keep our oven clock at the wrong time on purpose. I just reset it randomly. Well, actually our electric circuit goes out sometimes, and so I always reset it to 111 when that happens. But I feel like that gives the universe full access to any numbers it wants to use any time of day. And luckily my family doesn't seem bothered by it at all. So that might drive some people crazy, but our kitchen clock on the stove is always the wrong time. But every time I walk in there is, 777 or 333 or some combination of numbers, 1212. So it's just always this confirmation of keep going, you're in alignment, you're on the right track, stay present. I'm always feeling these messages come through, and this kind of guiding hand every time I see that. So I encourage you to really start tuning into your inner wisdom, using your intuitive guidance to make decisions, and just watch the magic unfold. So I hope that this helps you, and I would love to hear any stories or answer any questions or talk more about it if you'd like clarity on any part of this. And once I make that guided meditation, I will link it in the notes below. But I hope you have a beautiful and magical day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.